All right, y'all. Look, they trying to say that David hired a hitman to kill his girlfriend. Now, look, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's taking them so long to figure this shit out. But hey, at this point, I'm finna just put on my detective outfit and go figure it out myself. But hey, we finna react to the video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. We finna see what's going on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into this David story, I want to say that I'm doing a massive giveaway for Battlefield 6. Yes,
we don't want to
follow me on $70. Now, according to latest reports, according to You Ain't That Hard Foo on Instagram, they say private investigator says police know the identity of the last person that drove David's Tesla with Celeste Rivas' body inside, but they can't yet reveal who it is. And I
ain't gonna lie, y'all. It sounds like they getting down to the bottom of it. You know, they starting to figure it out piece by piece, but of course they ain't gonna, you know, release it out to the public. But hey, hopefully they figuring it out.
Obviously, you know, electric vehicles, Teslas, and the like have a fuck ton of biometric data, cameras everywhere, GPS, geo-tracking, and locations. Don't some of these vehicles use fingerprints or like Face ID to even unlock the vehicles? Like, obviously, which is why everybody's so irritated, because how did they not even, like, why have they not made any arrests yet? Given the level of security surveillance in 2025, I'm pretty sure they already know who was in that vehicle. Like, let's be honest, California is one of the most surveilled states in the entire union. And as you can see on David's page, he hasn't really made any updates. He actually dipped down below 2 million followers and then gained all that shit back. So it's just like, wow. It seems like he has way more support now than he did prior to Celeste being found in his Tesla.
No, I wouldn't say he got way more support. It's just like one of them things, you know, when something big happened, you know, you're a celebrity. Just like Young Dolph, when he died, he got killed. I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't know who he was, but they automatically, you know, they heard about the news, so they made them go listen to the music and go check out his social media posts. So I would say he gained support. I ain't gonna lie, if y'all supporting this dude,
whoop-de-doo,
you're a weirdo.
Quickly get into the meat and potatoes. According to TMZ, they say Celeste Rivas' investigation. PI thinks sadistic plans were set for teen's corpse. Whatever the hell that means. Hopefully it has nothing to do with necrophilia. We already had this story surrounding pedophilia. Let's not dive into the territory of people trying to mess with dead bodies. The private investigator hired to probe Celeste Rivas' death case has made a harrowing revelation. He thinks there was a, and I quote, sadistic plan made to get rid of the teen. And of course our theories is that, you know, she either OD'd or she was pregnant or both. Who knows? People also think she wanted to reveal their relationship to the world, naturally, of course. And because of that,
I think she was
David,
pregnant.
a manager, or somebody within his circle, knowing that that would mess up the money and sending to prison, said, hey, we gotta find a solution to this to shut her up. They say the PI says that he can't spill much, but thinks the original plan went wrong at some point, and that the Tesla, where her dismembered corpse was found in early September, was supposed to be a holding spot, so a temporary spot before transferring her body to somewhere else. They also say Steve, who was hired by the homeowner of the $3.6 million Hollywood Hills home singer David stayed in. Remember that home he was staying in, he abandoned after, I suppose, people started showing up, investigators started pulling up, you know, he had to dip. Yeah, apparently the owner of that mansion, who was rightfully creeped the fuck out, hired this guy to find out what the hell happened in his home. I would do the same if I were a homeowner, especially of a mansion that I'm renting out to a famous person, and then they're all of a sudden linked to a dead body of a minor. I don't want to be culpable of that. I don't want the FBI thinking I had anything to do with that, so I'm going to err on the side of caution, hire a PI to figure out what the hell was happening in my home. But here's some footage, an interview that, and shout out to Law and Crime Network on YouTube. I'm sure we're all familiar with them. They had an interview with the PI on this case, separate from law enforcement, investigating this, and here's what he had to say.
First, where I think things are a lot easier than people try to make them sometimes, especially online and these big things. And I thought this was going to be a tragic overdose, which it very well still could be. And they made a bad decision because they didn't want to expose a potential relationship and put her in this Tesla, and then maybe he thought he could get somebody to get rid of that car, and they were just like, no, I'm not doing it, and just got left there. But I will say,
he trying, I don't know. I don't know if that sound right. He trying to say that maybe the girl had overdosed, and you know, the fact that she was so young and she was, you know, dating David and he a celebrity and all this. He trying to quote unquote say that David didn't know what to do with the body, so he just threw it in the back of a Tesla and tried to get rid of the body because he was scared of, you know, people knowing that she was with him. Nah, we I ain't believing that.
There are some things that
There's more to that.
and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff, and that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But
So, bruh, they saying it's more stuff. They found evidence in the house. You know, stuff maybe they was gonna use to get rid of her body, like a shovel. You know, could have been something like a chainsaw to cut her body up, a butcher knife. That's what he mean by sadistic stuff. Like, man, this is
have to
nasty.
do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, you know, their timing was just off as far as getting this done.
I'm just gonna say, here's my theory that, and I'm sticking with it. She either wanted to speak because she was pregnant, she wanted to make everything public, right? Or she was just getting tired of the secrets, and she finally wanted to make this relationship public, knowing that it would destroy his career and his life. Possibly they got into an argument, and she said, this is why, this, that, and the third. I'm going to tell what you've done with me. I'm gonna tell the whole world that you're dating a minor. You met me when I was this old, at this age. I'm going to destroy your career. And of course, naturally, anybody in that position that David would have been in. By the way, this is all speculation. Being in that position, backed into a corner, possibly being exposed for a legit federal crime. He and anybody else in his circle, knowing about the situation, would have started devising a plan to make sure she never has the chance to expose anything, to make sure she never has the chance.
I can see that. I feel like if this is the case, David basically he didn't want to go out like P Diddy. You know, you got the R Kelly, the P Diddy. So David was a Diddy. David Diddy. That's what David was.
To make anything
David
public. And honestly, as I've stated in
name.
many videos before, please watch your children. The world, since the beginning of time, in civilization, society, and in nature, is full of predators. From tigers, lions, bears, snakes, spiders, all the way on up into sadistic, murdering, serial killing human beings. These people, these creatures, these things will always exist. But what you can do is protect yourself and being proactive in your life and in your family's lives and your children's lives and anybody else for that matter that you care about. Clearly, based off of everything that I've learned about the situation, Celeste just didn't have enough protection. Maybe, you know, naturally teen girls, they become a little rebellious. It is what it is, but that is when you really have to step it up. No matter what like modern society wants to tell you, bro, you as a father or mother, you gotta you have to try your best to save your child from this cold world. Like, obviously protect them, provide for them, and teach them.
I always have said from the beginning, since I've been hearing about this case too, from the parents, bro, it said that Celeste ran away from home not once but twice. Like, how does it, like, come on, as a parent, how do you even let that happen? So I feel like it's something weird going on with the parents too. Maybe, you know, she was in like a bad household, or I don't know, who knows.
The realities, but also protect them from these dangerous pitfalls that can, you know, mortally wound them. Have them end up in jail, shot, dismembered, killed. Like, you guys, I don't have to spell this out for anybody. It's a cold world we live in, and it's just a shame what happened.
Has anyone from David's team, management, legal, anybody reached out to you or your client?
You know, I know that my client's been in touch with his manager, but only for the purpose of the lease, because they did ask to terminate the lease. And I believe the other manager that technically was the owner of the red Tesla, I think was in touch with him just because they needed access to the house to get that vehicle and stuff out. Because that's another thing that I think could be key in this, is that there's only one key to that house, and who had that and who had access to it and who was in it. Because we also have evidence that while David was on tour at the time between the Tesla being found and the search warrant being served, David was on tour, but somebody was in that house. And there was actually a report made, not with police, but that homeowner association has a robust private security company, and we've gotten videos from them and reports. And so
who was in the house? I know it was Celeste. Well, I don't know, because was Celeste dead at this time when somebody was in the house, or was she on tour with David? Man, I feel like an investigator right now. Investigator BJ, we finna figure this out.
He is probably the same person that, you know, had access to the Tesla.
So it sounds like this is a hitman, an assassin. And of course, if you're rich, you don't want to get your hands dirty. And if you're the manager, you definitely don't want to get your hands dirty for your artist, your client. So yeah, they probably hired somebody from like SoCal or some shit to pull up. I don't know where, I forgot the address, but in the hills, right? David was living in. Anybody involved in this case remotely allocated to be a co-conspirator, they're going to get their reputation and career destroyed. This guy is probably just a random landlord slash homeowner in the Hollywood.
To think about it too, it gotta be somebody, you know, else involved in this case. Think about it, bruh. You killing somebody, right? A dead body. How are you able to get that body from inside, or I don't know if it happened inside the house, but let's say she got killed in the house. How are you able to get that body from inside the house to outside in a Tesla trunk? Like, you not doing, I don't care what nobody say, you're not doing that all by yourself. And if you is, you just, I don't know, you probably bench about 500. Like,
he probably has multiple properties, and he doesn't want to have this entire situation tarnishing his entire real estate career. I get it. As a business owner, one of your clients fuck up, you don't want to be culpable for their actions. Totally understandable.
Do you know who that person is, and do you believe that is the person that moved the Tesla?
So I believe, I definitely know who moved that Tesla on that late July before they went on tour. I can't say who the person, and I don't mean I can't say for, I mean, but I don't know who exactly was in that house, because it's just a report, but there's video, but you can't make a person out. But somebody was in the house, and being that there's only one key, it's like, okay, who had access at that time? So is it the same person that moved the Tesla? Was another?
Wouldn't it be like DNA in the house? If somebody is, if David is on tour and there's somebody living in the house, I mean, you do have to pee. You gotta shit. You gotta eat. You take showers. So I'm sure it's probably her somewhere. Like, come on, I don't know. We gotta do some more investigating. Hey, this why I should have been investigated. I would have been taking all the hair samples. I would have been looking at everything. I'm gonna figure this shit out.
And about to go in motion as far as getting rid of her body. I don't know.
Man, that's gotta be scary. Imagine, David on tour, and he knows that she knows that he knows that she may one day speak up about this, and he's thinking in the back of my mind, I can't go to prison. This is crazy. And she's been saying wild shit, right? He's now having image after image, leak after leak, indicating that he was definitely in a relationship with her. And the one thing that could really expose him and really get him caught up is her word, verifying everything. Exactly. Corroborating everything. So he probably went on tour, he left her back at his house saying, all right, whatever, you can stay here and chill. Mind you, at this point in time, she already ran away. So she's thinking everything is cool and peachy and fine, right? But on David's side, he already knows that he has this set in motion. This is speculation, by the way. Him and his team or whoever already probably hired somebody, possibly, to come and take her out to smoke her. And I'm just like, bro, if something like that actually happened, can you imagine the amount of fear coursing through her body during the last moments of her life? Like, holy shit. Assuming this was an actual assassin. Hitman, though. I don't know if regular people can be classified as assassinated, but I'm saying, like, an assassin coming to take her out. I just gotta say, this entire case, in my opinion, is the spookiest shit I've ever covered on this entire It's the most convoluted too, but it's incredibly spooky. It's creepy. And I'm telling you 100%, if this happened to any normal person, any normal civilian, we would have, the case would have already started, and we would have been on our way to prison by now. I assure you. Definitely. And yeah, people in the comments are now saying, finally, an exclusive update from Law and Crime, not just some regurgitated old news. Yeah, I understand, a lot of things have been recycled. Somebody else said, finally, I feel like we're getting somewhere. Big thanks to the landlord for hiring a private investigator. I know he's doing it to protect himself, but it sure did help with my anxiety on this case. Somebody said, protect himself? How would a crime that happened on his property affect him legally? I don't know. Some people are not bright. They don't understand how you owning a property and a crime happening on it can lead you to...
Like, how do you not understand that? That's like me if I own if I open a basketball court for the city to come play basketball in, and then somebody come in there and kill 5 people. Guess who they looking at? They finna come look at me. They gonna ask me, why don't you have security? Why don't you have people checking to make sure, metal detectors? Like, they gonna look at me because I'm the one that started that business, Some people just slow.
Liable for that crime. It happens. But of course, OP responded back by saying it happened at his properties, so he would want to know to what extent his property is involved with a potential crime. So that should just be obvious, but hey. Ladies and gentlemen, that said, with this update, what do you think about this? Thoughts and opinions down below. This is Chris.
Man, what do y'all think happened? Y'all think he got a hitman? Or do y'all think David did it? I don't know. I'm starting to believe the hitman story. We're finna read some of these comments though. I'm kind of curious. See what these comments talking about. This comment says, if you are unfortunately a young girl dealing with an older man, please do not tell them you will expose them to their face. That makes a lot of sense. Hey, look, all the girls is watching this, especially the young girls. I ain't gonna say little girls, but you know the young girls, underage girls, under 18. For whatever reason, if y'all talking to an old dude or older dude, please don't do that. Like, don't tell them you gonna expose them, because that's only gonna make them mad. Some dudes ain't finna go to prison. Like, they already know what's going down. So, because one thing about jail, they don't play about rape, they don't play about old people, and they don't play about, pedophiles. So, this case keeps getting crazier and crazier. I definitely agree. I thought this was the case because he couldn't have killed Celeste while on tour, even if the body was already decomposing. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, David, he probably definitely hired a hitman. It's not looking too good.